extra survivability. As, ooh, Cenapic gonna sneak in here. One of Ghost's favorites. You know, since he's been benched, hasn't really been very high profile for Damwon Kia at all. And we'll see if that it does end up getting locked down here, but a lot of the pairings that you will have with the center are very easily banned in second phase. Same is true of Varus, though. Could take away the Thresh Kench here as Fredit Brion either way.
Yeah, I mean, just looking for something that can handle that lane a little bit more, I think, for Showmaker. Struggled a little bit on the Ezreal in that last game. Wasn't really making as big of an impact as you would have liked. As the Gnar is going to be locked in here this time around for Hoya.
We'll see if they ban the Jace themselves, or if Khan is allowed to play it, one of his favorites. Nope. Not allowed. Fredit Brion had the opportunity to play it. They chose the Gwen instead, but Fredit Brion are not going to give the same opportunity to Khan. It's still possible that Khan plays the set, in fact. Talk about the flexibility of the champion. Yeah. Damwon Kia could also then later on just pick a jungle champion. A Rumble could be in the solo lane, but only time will tell. We see a ban on the Leona here. Tom Kench will be the response. And this gives the opportunity for Fredit Brion to play the Kalista Alistar. Something that we've seen quite a bit in the past. One of Delight's favorite pairings with Henna's Kalista. And one that I'm kind of focused on here, I'd almost rather see the Alistar ban instead of the Leona.
They're going to prioritize this Azir for Lava instead. Does allow you to kind of get a look at exactly what Damwon are bringing into the bot lane and just overall, and then try to counter with a support that can work out pretty well.
Yeah. You know, they left open the Sylas, though, which is the other really common response to the Gnar pick, because stealing Gnar ultimate is incredibly strong. Not to mention stealing basically every ultimate in the game that's up there.
True.
Let's see where they go for support, because
okay,
well, I mean, you certainly could flex the set.
Oh.
We'll see Kiana come through.
Wait, that's Canyon Kiana mid.
Yeah, Canyon Kiana mid.
Definitely gonna have the Sylas going to the Gnar.
Yeah,
you would have to imagine.
Yeah, that's definitely what's gonna happen in this game. Absolutely.
We are turning up the heat now.
I mean, this is one of those picks that feels very polarizing, right, in this draft, because, yeah, it works well with the AP jungle that you have with the Rumble here. You have an AP top laner too, so the damage profile checks out. Very aggressive pick, one that you could show off and be flashing on, but if it falls apart, if it does fall behind, and you don't find that level of success that you're looking for against this Azir in the mid lane, it can really end up being a pick that weighs down on you, drags you down through the later parts of the game. So you can see that, before anybody gets confused, it's not going to be jungle Kiana, it's just because Canyon is playing mid lane right now. It's jungle Malrang, so that's where the swap that you don't see on your screen is going to come through. On the other side of things for Fredit Brion, they have a composition that actually has such incredible late game 5v5 teamfight initiation between the Fate's Call, the Rakan they have, the Gnar ultimates.
Yeah,
I look at the
pretty gross.
Yeah, I look at the comp and I go, the shoe's on the other foot here. This feels like a Damwon Kia draft, in fact, for Fredit Brion. So very much a big change up here. A lot of this game, Valdez, I think, is going to come down to the performance of Canyon on this Kiana.
I mean, yeah, he's into the matchup against the Azir as well, which he knew he was going into. Must be pretty comfortable in this one. The laning might not be fun, but the potential for all-ins is going to be nice. We don't see too much Kiana nowadays, but they also want to get down and dirty. They want to go in there and fight and look for that backline, especially for Lava, for Henna, and potentially for Delight. We'll see how this does go. As we are jumping into game number 2, Damwon Kia, once again with their loss, they did select blue side, and so we will have same sides here for this second game.
Kiana has been very popular in other regions, even last season in spring, and we saw it spammed by basically every LCK player in solo queue last season when it was being played in other regions. Like, everybody was kind of messing around with it, but it never became popular here. It never became standard. Khan is threatening a pick here, but nobody's close enough. Close call there, though.
Level 1 Sylas can do some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Outside of the set, I suppose. But yeah, just looking to see if anyone pushed too deep down the river. Maybe get a flash out of someone, but not actually going to happen here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes because it's an interesting matchup. You don't have strong CC to pair with this Kiana either. Like if you had, if it was an older time where you had like a Talia with it, you're like, oh yeah, this is super sick, right? You can really lock down those mid players, even the Azir. If you had a Udyr with this, it would feel like, okay, you could really snowball this lane. Took Electrocute. Take a look at the runes there. Nothing shocking so far besides that.
Yeah.
And that's not shocking, it's just, play on words, I don't know. I canceled the joke, I'm canceling it. I cancel it.
Can we cancel your vote from the last game?
I would like to, but I don't think they'll let me do that.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long it'll be until we can let you live that one down, but
maybe tomorrow?
We've been there.
Hopefully.
Yeah, maybe by tomorrow.
Oh boy.
I want to see how this lane changes the bottom side. With Showmaker on in AD carry that can handle the Kalista a bit better in the early game.
Also Electrocute for Lava, by the way, no Comet. And he's still crushing the early parts of this lane because level 1 Kiana is very difficult to lane to an Azir with. He's just going to outrange you, he's going to poke you, he's going to chip away. You can't see it on your screens right now, but if you look at the minimap and the CS score in the middle of your screen, you can tell. There you go. It's not a good time so far. It's been almost a year. It's played by Keeney last time against Kuzan on Dynamics.
Interesting. Canyon getting in there in the invisibility, and Lava not expecting it, has to use the exhaust already. Gonna miss that last shot. But still a very aggressive trade from Canyon. We can see what kind of mid laner he is.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't end up being a trade that's great for him long term here in the lane, and he still ends up losing a significant amount of CS. So speaking of trading, yeah,
that was another one indeed. Yeah, but that was pretty good. Within the minions, actually didn't take that much damage on the backside either. Canyon definitely having some difficulty farming this one out. They got the exhaust out of Lava. Zumti just sticking by, helping push the lane. Maybe getting a good back here for Lava early on if he wants to take one.
I didn't see if he took Hex Flash, but very high chance, once again, that he did. And that means that there's always a threat that he can flash on top of you with a little bit less recourse than using your flash if you don't have that. You still have the backup. You can still use your flash to close distances, or your Hex Flash rather, to close distances to go over walls. So Lethality Varus is definitely very annoying to play against here. We don't see this matchup all too often, actually. Sometimes you see Varus or the Kalista counterpicked into the Ezreal as indeed.
Marlon spotted, and they kind of knew he was here, but Khan coming over, and Umti kind of hanging around the mid lane here for a bit. I thought maybe he could collapse up to the top side of the map, but with Canyon on no mana, he wanted to keep this lane in a great spot and not allow Canyon to get the free push with the Azir out of the lane. So now, with no teleport for Canyon, he's in a really rough spot because he's missing XP and CS. So this is actually the right decision by MT.
You're completely right. Ends up being really nice for him too. Isn't really missing out on too much gold because he's able to hold the wave and grab a few extra hits of CS. Hoya survives just fine.
Look at this lane.
Yeah, this is Lava just enjoying the view. And you and I were talking about some of the feelings we had out after that first game with Damwon Kia. I know a lot of people are like to make the Fredit Brion will win worlds meme because that's what the kids like to say nowadays whenever Fredit Brion wins a game in a series.
Yeah.
But like, it felt like Damwon and Kia were playing with their food a little bit. And this Kiana pick might end up feeling like that too. And if Canyon can't end up doing anything here, it's not like it's a pick that has to snowball to win, but in terms of what these two champions are capable of later on and how they scale with 0 kills and 0 assists, you're always going to favor the Azir there.
Yeah, he's sitting pretty. That's like the most comfortable position as a mid laner. With the wave pushing into you, got a lot of jungle focus. You're just sitting pretty, enjoying the view, as you put it. This top lane as well for Khan has not exactly been enjoyable. The Silas generally is going to enjoy this lane a lot more once you hit level 6 and you have your own Gnar ultimate.
And some items to boot, right? He obviously doesn't have any of those online just yet in this early part of the game. So it's really difficult to, without your own Gnar ultimate, trade. He hits, that was actually a really tight moment between both players. Like, Khan knows he has the level 6 coming with those dead minions, and also Hoya respects it, bounces back.
Yeah, because Hoya hasn't bought anything just yet.
Nope.
You don't want to take that trade as the Gnar. Sit back, go and buy, and then you can decide if you want to take that in the future. The Rumble, I think, was on Vision there, so Lava just going to play that out very carefully. We haven't had too many kills here in the early game, exactly 0, but a lot of trading back and forth.
Yeah, this is the most passive early game we've had of the 2 so far. And it feels like of the 4 so far we've had today in LCK. Says Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting because so far Fredit Brion's game plan has been to control every objective fight. And with this composition, it's a lot harder to actually pull that off in early skirmishes because your comp comes online much later in the game this time, and they have a Kiana. Despite the fact that she's 20 CS down, she's very powerful at this stage of the game. She had like a slight nerf to her ability to roam bot with that movement speed that she gets. But besides that, she's still very powerful. And I wonder who's going to be the one to pull the trigger first here, actually, between these 2 teams, because Damwon and Kia are not ahead as they would like to be.
Khan, I don't think he sees this coming as Xin Zhao is in the brush, but the way it worked out, Khan was far enough down the river that Hoya couldn't really join up, and so it just ends up being a 1v1, and Khan is easily able to push them away.
Bot Prio going over to Damwon Kia here for just a moment. They're going to come back and reset. It's going to be a big moment, potentially if they can time it right to reset for this upcoming skirmish. Team Malrong is heading towards the top side of the map. They have vision control, are on the top part of this Herald, but Fredit Brion have the Scuttle and that control ward, so the other team really has enough of an edge they are feeling like to be able to actually commit to these objectives. And Damwon Kia are the team that has more pressure to actually succeed on these objectives earlier, because if they don't, the scaling that Fredit Brion has can be somewhat of a problem for them. In terms of the late game team fighting as well, not just like, okay, Azir's in the game so they win scaling, but they actually have a Gnar, right? That's going to be great for straight up 5v5 fights, and they get this for free, Damwon Kia do.
And I think there's even more pressure along those lines because the Kiana's getting so far behind.
Yeah.
Like, if she's not really a champion, and this assassin doesn't really do damage because she has no items from the early game, and nothing happens, generally you're not feeling good. And so I do agree. I think the onus is on DK to get something going here. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, at least they're going to get the Rift Herald money. You know, sure, they lose this Drake once again, but it's just really unfortunate that they're not able to fight for anything. They're not able to force Fredit Brion to take a risky exchange when, you know, Varus gets his Dirk up early. Again, that's one of the only items that you talk about that's not a finished item in this game. It feels like Varus gets like a big spike on it because everyone's squishy in the early game.
Yeah.
So
you got that lethality jump with that item, so.
It's one of the items where, you know, I thought maybe if Showmaker gets that and they can maybe hold some pressure around the Drake, leave the Rift Herald for now, maybe they can force a fight, win it, and get the Drake. But just getting the Rift Herald alone is nice, but it doesn't feel like it's enough.
Yeah. Seeing Khan take more and more aggressive trades, this one doesn't necessarily work out for him. I don't think he's bought in a bit here.
Yeah,
he's been on the ring and the tier 2 boots for a while, so gotta be careful about that.
Especially when there's a Phage on the other side, so when you take these extended trades and you're not able to actually get any lockdown, the heal comes through passively, and these are moments where Hoya is really happy to hit the Sylas and not the minions until he leaves. And then knock him into a wall, and the story continues here. Yeah. Not even going to get this plate, because he knows the teleport's up. Perfect timing to reset here from Hoya.
Yeah. And it does make sense for Khan to try to take a trade as long as he knows he's not going to die, because he will just teleport back in the lane. And so he just does that. Not much happening in this game. Kind of just sitting back. This is definitely turning into the more passive of the 4 we've had today.
Yeah, and what's most worrisome about that, like you said moments ago, is that Canyon is down 22 CS and doesn't have much to speak of in terms of how these fights have gone. He hasn't even been able to group. There haven't been any fights.
Right. Khan, you know, I'm not sure that he actually has kill pressure here, but he's just trying to take aggressive trades, and put on the lane pressure at least. You know, try to get Umpty to come up to the top side more often. You know, bring more focus from Bro up to this top lane.
Yeah, I think he caused Hoya to lose like 1 or 2 CS there too, because the minions were under turret. So small things like that can add up, but it just does feel like desperation in terms of what these trades will accomplish. Like, I'm not trying to say Khan is so desperate right now, but but it's like it's high risk, low reward if there is somebody over there and you don't have that vision control. He does have this control ward on the brush now, and Marong a barrel here.
This is a pretty aggressive rotation of the top side. I'm not sure that Fredit Brion are going to read into this. They just know that DK are coming off a back from the bottom side, but they haven't returned to the bottom lane. As here we go. No, not quite.
Look at where Showmaker is too. Like, Showmaker's mid.
Yeah.
He's roll swapping back.
Yeah.
He's actually staying here for a really long time. Meanwhile, Hannah's like, if you guys aren't going to do anything, then sure. I'll take a free push bottom. And nobody is here to stop him. There's 2 control wards on the bot side river. That Canyon's now going to start working at the first one. There's a second one, so Hannah knows he has time to get out.
Khan has to flash away. Hoya's just fine. He doesn't have to flash at all. And that is looking really good for him so far. As here's the engage. Nice flash away from Canyon. He's trading that with Delight. But again, this Rift Herald, the first Rift Herald of the game, isn't going to get a play into the plates because of that.
Thanks for the 25 gold. I mean, who would have thought that Fredit Brion would have been the team to pull roll-swapped Damwon Kia low? Who would have thought that Fredit Brion would be the one to be the first one to really throw a wrench into the gears? It's not over by any means yet, but this game has looked pretty calm and pretty low kills, 0 kills to 0 kills at 13 minutes in, which favors Fredit Brion in a lot of ways with their composition, late game team fights.
Yeah,
and they just won. They just won the last one, so
we're about to cross the record for 2021 summer First Blood.
What was the record actually?
It was 1338. And it was, let me check again, the teams.
Because we are passing
KT versus Nongxin.
Okay. Well, we just passed
There we go.
Now. There you go.
Created a new record here for 2021 summer.
Delight. Playing with fire here, but there's no way to punish him across the wall.
Hey, there you go. Thanks, production.
Valdez was
always got my back. I was just reading off the script.
Valdez is like, well, you know, it would have been cool to see that 20 seconds ago, but
like yeah, they eventually got me. And we have this Cloud Drake spawning. We'll see if maybe we can get some action from here. Hoya has the teleport advantage, actually, for now. You saw Khan angling down towards the middle lane. No plates have given gold. There was one taken plate by Damwon, and that's it. But nobody got gold for it. So 0 to 0 in that effect as well.
Yeah. Fredit Brion are like, okay, well, we're going to fight this. They have some decent skirmishing power if Hoya teleports down here. I mean, not to mention, of course, the Azir they have.
Khan doesn't have his teleport right now.
Yeah.
They could just force it if they knew the exact timing. Here's the teleport finally, and it's actually stolen away by Malrong. That is a big steal, as now they're going to get on top of Upti, and that's immediately the jungle gone. Sid is going to get a massive shield, and the rest of Bro will be able to get out of there, but look at this. They get the dragon and the first blood on Kiana. Damwon are right back in the game.
Yeah, certainly right back into the game. I mean, that's all it takes to put yourself into this one. You even out the Drake score, get a ton of extra gold in your pocket. And Canyon should be able to get out of here no problem. Once again, the set doing the majority of the damage in this early skirmish with a haymaker. That's how it goes. And you're really hoping that you're going to win that smite fight is Fredit Brion, but Malrong's able to get in there and steal it. You had positional advantage. Everything looked great for Fredit Brion to just take the slow and steady wins the race approach like they almost always feel like they're doing this year. But take a look at this one more time. As Umpty's on the Drake, right? Malrong has an equalizer that, okay, we're going to skip that because there might be a fight here.
Yeah, it looks like Mega Gnar is in effect with the Gnar available, but it is 2v1, so let's see what Hoya can do to get out of this one. Just sitting in the minions for now, trying to use that extra damage, knows he has Umpty nearby. He's going to Gnar Khan back, as now Umpty goes in, but Barrel's here now. They'll just disengage as Khan gets the lowest, and nobody actually dies.
Nobody dies. A lot of resources from both teams coming up here. See Varus coming up with Kiana, so Canyon and Showmaker together now grouping up here for the second Rift Herald. Fredit Brion have vision of this, so they know this is happening. It's going to take a little bit longer to rotate over, but they will contest. And yeah, it looks like Damwon Kia are just going to walk it out.
Yeah. The thing is that this Rift Herald, with the game this tight and this close, second Rift Herald is like, we just don't want to get caught out on this objective right now. If they were confident to win a fight, then you can take a stance and maybe look for the turn, but not going to be the case here from Damwon. Kind of shows you their attitude at this point in the game.
2 Prowlers claws up here for Damwon Kia right before this Rift Herald contest. This time they have much better positional advantage, so this one is almost certainly going to go to them. Hoya has no teleport, he's backed. They have a lot of control over this. But Fredit Brion's power in this game is going to be in these extended 5v5 fights. So this Rift Herald is too high risk for either team to take initially, but you know, when Damwon do take it, they're like, well, we're just going to let that go because there's not going to be a ton of gold in this. Henna's in bottom, hitting this for free again. Just keeps getting away with this.
First turret, where is it going to be?
I think it's Henna.
Yeah. Henna's, oh, no! Turns out 3 is better than 1, even with the health advantage. So Damwon at least are able to convert on that. But Henna is getting some nice free farm on the waves down in the bottom side.
All right, just going to delay this. A lot of vision control around this bottom side of the map for Fredit Brion in this moment, too. Damwon Kia can't say the same counter-wise, but unfortunately for Fredit Brion, that vision is just slowly going to be cleared after Damwon reset because there's no objective to fight over. You're not going to get much of an advantage with this. Delight is hanging out around the mid lane where the wave is pushed, but with everybody grouped up for these wards to be cleared, I don't think Fredit Brion can really capitalize on all that extra vision they have, but it is impressive. I mean, you look at this side of the jungle and it's like, well, it's littered with wards. There's not any secrets in this game for Damwon Kia on the bottom side of the map. They're clearing it away now. But like I said, there's no Drake just yet. They've got a whole 75 seconds to go before that's going to matter.
Yeah. And there's not really much happening in this game. I'm just looking at the itemization. You see double lethality stacking actually in this game. It's something I didn't really notice in the draft, and it's part of the reason why you're going to see plated steel caps. You're going to see the arm guards coming out from lava. If you can stack enough armor, it really helps against those 2 champions specifically. Of course, they do have a more rounded out damage profile because of the Silas and the Rumble especially.
Yeah.
But definitely forces you to get some defensive items early on and kind of spec into some of these boots that you might not often see.
Yeah, you don't always see those, but also, you know, it's a little bit awkward because you want to build magic resistance too. Yeah. Because of this, so it's really hard to itemize against the all-in of lethality while also then being efficient against the AP damage, like you said. So I like the boots for the early game, and it has been successful so far. It's stemming the bleeding here. And we just haven't had very many fights regardless.
It's been 1 kill so far, guys. We're just, you know, settling down for the winter.
Just tell you guys about my drive to work today. Instead. Here we go, Umpty.
All right, getting on in there as that's going to be a very aggressive set ultimate. And look at that, Kiana into the wall. Gets so much value, but the turnaround on the bars is decent. So many low health bars, though, as Canyon is going hunting. And the rest of Bro is just going to get out of there. Turns out the set, once again, the follow-up from Canyon was also huge.
Yeah, 2 for 1. Pretty fantastic when you have a set to set this one all up. I mean, Beryl is able to turn an initiation into a counter initiation for Damwon Kia. The Kiana ultimate, as you mentioned in the fight, was basically perfect. One of the highest value ones you're going to see in that mid-river brush. And now they're going to be able to get the second break of the game with this one. A lot of emotes being spammed here for Damwon Kia as they finally have real control over a game in this series. And the Kiana pick starts to rear its head a little bit here. Sure, still 60 CS down against Nazir, but you can see in these mid-game skirmishes where we've been waiting for the fights that Damwon Kia know they're going to have an insane advantage in. It's pretty nice. So Umpty is pulled back into this team fight. Look at Beryl. He has the Haymaker shield up, and then Kiana goes straight into the wall. And that's all it takes.
It was so many things, too, as Canyon looks like he's dead. He doesn't even have mana. Just caught in a side lane. So nice shutdown going the way of Umpty. Will help them come back. But yeah, that last team fight was just everything all together that Damwon had to offer.
The kitchen sink.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It was the equalizer, the Gnar into the wall, follow up with the Kiana. Like, you can see what their comp does. There's an insane amount of synergy. Just find a closed corridor kind of area, and you can wombo combo really nicely. So
you're not always going to get that magical team fight, as we will watch this one more time. Kiana alone, Amana picked off. Goodbye. Shut down. Did not see who actually got the shutdown gold there, but significant amount of extra money.
Shin down.
Okay.
There you go. Able to pick up that gold.
A lot of extra money going over. But, you know, the combos, the explosive lethality damage here for Damwon Kia, Silas that can also become a Gnar. He's got Everfrost. Like, the initiation they have is pretty good too, actually, when you consider the set. Like, at the beginning of this game, I really felt like with all the CC and lineups that Fredit Brion have, that the late game team fighting was going to be so difficult for Damwon Kia if they weren't fairly fed early. But thinking about it again and seeing that last team fight really opened my eyes to what this composition can be capable of under the right circumstances. Now that they do have a lot of extra gold and those items online, even the Serpent's bang up now for Canyon. And it's Damwon Kia we're talking about, so in terms of team fighting, they're up there.
Yeah.
It feels like anyone's game to take here in the late game now, regardless of that Azir scaling. And he's 0-0-1 versus a 2-item Canyon here. And yes, he's got a second item, technically speaking, but it's not about that sustained damage just yet.
Yeah. And it's really going to be interesting to see how these fights go from here on out, as doesn't want to take this from Canyon. And Canyon is literally just all alone here on the Baron. Not sure what he was doing there, trying to take out the ward. It does take quite a while to take him out, and he's actually going to live after all of that. It was the bait all along. Canyon does it again somehow, and that's going to be 3 kills into the pocket of Damwon Kia. Canyon throws up the thumbs up, and they should be able to take the Baron potentially off of this.
Yeah, looks like it. They clear the vision. Mission success, as Lava's being completely zoned out. In fact, almost in trouble here. Let's not get stunned up.
Lava's not taking it.
Yeah, Lava very much, unfortunately, unhappy with the situation here, but there's nothing he can do. He's going to trade back some damage, but that's all. Baron goes down. I want to see that again because I would like to look at the mini-map and see where everyone was while this is happening. So you can actually see with the mid-prio here that Fredit Brion has, it's a pretty safe move to actually take this exchange versus Canyon. He gets the knockback here and buys a lot of time, takes a really nice path over the left side, and survives through that last part of the damage. And then Malrong and Beryl were so far away, but they get in here because he survives for so long. You can't really blame Fredit Brion for that call. They had full prio in mid. Like,
no, yeah,
look at this.
Going for the kill, absolutely. But the execution was just not there. And Canyon did a nice job of staying in the stealth for exactly the right amount of time, actually almost accidentally dodging that follow-up engage from Delight, but we'll say it's calculated.
Sure.
He's able to just sneak away from that one, from what looked like certain death.
Yeah. That's a little bit sad for Fredit Brion because that one small mistake is going to cost you really big.
Cannon's getting in there. He's looking for the solo, and that is just too easy. Not really too many tanky items, especially in the form of armor here on the side of Hoya. Trying to itemize the lane potentially against Khan for the majority of it, and he just gets popped like a balloon.
I mean, he itemizes against Khan, but he also itemizes against Malrong and the Equalizer that's always going to be on top of an R almost every single time you try to initiate, but that's why lethality champions like Kiana are so strong in the jungle or when there's no vision, because you can catch someone like a Gnar who hasn't actually itemized against your lethality and just 100-0 them so quickly. It's why a lot of people have rumored that maybe, you know, some lethality assassins will come back into the game. I'm still waiting for Zed myself, but, you know, I think we're going to have to keep waiting. But moments like that remind you of what these mid-assassins can accomplish, because you have the AD mid-assassins, right? Because you can accomplish so much when your opponent is itemized against something else. So I think we're going to watch this one more time. Hoya has no Narabar, nothing here.
Yeah, he's on vision. Canyon knows exactly where he is.
There's too many walls to avoid.
Yeah. Damwon Kia's comp really loves as many walls as possible. Just use them really nicely. And you can see, actually, the Prowler's Claw forward from Showmaker. He's the one that's trying to make plays now. Damwon very confidently just marching down the mid lane, looking to take this down with the Baron buff that they have for 20 seconds. He's going to find the light as the charm comes in, and Khan just says, I don't really care about that. You're dead. Insane amount of damage in this Damwon comp, and they're so far ahead at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to itemize against this. So, and when you're behind like this too, you have to make even tougher choices. Like you can see the items coming through here for Hoya are just kind of awkward, as you talked about earlier. Narbar runs out, and they've got Silas pushing on the side lane. They don't have Baron right now or anything like that, so this is not going to be any permanent inhibitor damage, doesn't look like, unless Fredit Brion overextend here, but they have complete control. 2 Mountain Drakes, soon to be 3, you would imagine. Fredit Brion, the way they win this game is, again, through really careful but also effective engage. But when you're always the ones getting engaged into by the Qiyana, speaking of,
he's just dead again.
this is what I'm talking about.
You're not going to get away from that. Canyon is just, you know, he's been learning from Malrong.
Finishes the wit's end, he's like, that'll help.
Oh, no. Yeah, just nicely done. I mean, reading the lanes and the pressure really nicely is Canyon. Feels like this aggressive playstyle from the mid lane is working really nicely from him. Malrong's like, I'm supposed to be the guy who camps the brushes.
I was literally going to make that same joke. Like, Marlon was like, wow, man, you're stealing my thunder over here.
Yeah, that was my thing.
That's my long con play in the brush there.
Yeah.
Faker's like watching. No, he's actually probably playing a solo queue game right now on Hide on Bush, but
probably Qiyana.
He's probably playing Qiyana too. It's totally expected. His Twitch chat was probably like, you see what's happening in LCK right now? He's like, yeah. Nope. He's like, no, they told him, and he's like, yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah. I always knew Qiyana was the way to go. And, I mean, we'll just see this once again where the light just gets blown up. It's gone. Pretty aggressive. He's like the assassin in this case.
I mean, there's just so many threats for 100-0 against squishy targets. And when you're this far behind, it doesn't matter. This is Hoya just trying to stem the bleeding. He's like just trying to pick up the pieces of the pushed wave and gets 100-0 himself. This game is really off the rails for Fredit Brion. They're so far behind that we don't really even get to have that conversation about what a 5v5 team fight would look like because they can't get to the objectives without getting picked because they don't have enough vision. Look at how desperate it is for them to just get vision around this top side of the jungle to defend a turret.
The Lights got an interesting brush here, but Khan seems to know about it as Canyon finds another unfortunate victim in the jungle, and he's even looking for a bit more. On the front lines there, he's going to back away for now. But if he can just consistently do that, it's really rough. As you mentioned, they don't really have much vision, and Canyon's just able to dip in and out of that really easily on the Qiyana.
You can't defend your top turret very easily when you're running a very low-range composition with a Callista like this. Sure, you have the Azir that can kind of poke, but it's not amazing wave clear. So your best bet to punish while also saving the turret is to wrap around. So they go around, they group, they try to clear vision, but they just didn't expect, once again, Canyon is this deep, and that's why that vision is so important. You have to clear it, you have to walk through that part of the jungle in order to trap those players who are pushing the top side of the map. They get punished for it. And it really is just a limit that Damwon Kia have taken with this draft. With the lead they have, they've limited what Fredit Brion's options are, you know, to even stop a push on the top side of the map like that. And now they can rotate over and potentially start looking to start the Baron here. You can see, you know, Khan, who has teleport, by the way, is on the right side.
Here we go again. Oh, he's not going to go for it. I think his ult was, his ult was like 2-3 seconds away. And you know what? He goes for it now. He's going to get the flash available because he did not actually knock him into the wall.
I mean, this is 100% a Baron play now. Like I said, Khan's pushing bottom. He has teleport. Xin Zhao out of the fight. No flash, has Hex Flash, but if you're going to Hex Flash over the wall to save this game by stealing Baron, I'll put my POG vote down for you right now.
Yeah, I thought when I saw these comps, I thought it was going to be like who's going to have the better vision control and who's going to get the proactive engages off first. But Fredit Brion just fell so far behind after a couple of fights that we haven't actually seen them get a full team engage off at all.
And exactly, and that was the question we had. I was like, well, what's going to happen in the late game? How do they engage? But you never have enough vision. And there was really like one big team fight and then Canyon just catching people.
Oh boy. Shieldbow procced here. We got the equalizer coming out, and we're just hunting Kallistas now on the Rift as Henna is just immediately made useless.
Khan has Gnar ultimate, has flash, so you can't be anywhere near this Drake pit.
And they're just going to go back to farming, turtling. They have the Azir. That's the hope.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a look at some live stats here. Look at the damage per minute. Like, I just want to point this out because Lava has more gold, and he has a significant amount of CS lead. Like, he's 4 CS per minute, almost 5 per minute ahead. Has more gold, but his impact on the game is way lower because Fredit Brion don't get the 5v5 team fight like you mentioned. I just wanted to point that stat out that we had there on the screen. Sometimes less is more, actually, in terms of CS, in terms of gold. Effective team fights, effective damage is way more impactful.
Yeah, just picking up kills. His teammates are getting fed alongside of him. Really, the only hope is that Lava can kind of just wait here for like 40, 45 minutes and get super fed with this wave clear as we are jumping in onto Delight, but he will survive. And again, this is for nothing. Khan doesn't take any damage. And look at this, up against the wall now. Upti is going to be brought in, and he is just going to go down. As Malrang does eat a lot of damage, you see Lava's just chipping away. And now Khan all alone, but he's got Azonias. And I don't know if they have the damage, but maybe they do. They take out the set immediately. And you could see, you know, we haven't really seen it unleashed from Fredit Brion. It might be a little bit too little too late. They have tons of damage and tons of ability to fight, but they just have not been given an opportunity in this game.
And the problem is with these inhibitors falling here, even with the death cap completed now for Lava, and the amount of chip damage he can do is heading towards his Void Staff now.
Oh no.
Things like this. I mean, if you don't have vision, you can't be there ever in any world because you're going to get caught.
Oh, and Lava gets caught here too. He flashes away, dies to the burn.
What's wrong with the belt?
And once you lose your Azir, you lose kind of any hope of stopping these waves from pushing in. And they're going to get to work on this top turret and definitely take down this inhibitor.
I mean, if you don't go clear that vision, then you can't play the game and you sit back and lose. If you do go and try to clear it and they're there, you lose. Lose-lose situation. We're going to a game 3 here, Valdez. There's no two ways about it.
That's looking like it. Kiana's just looking for how he can add even more damage to his end-of-game stats. At this point in time, Hoya trying to get an engage, stuns 0 people. Malrang able to Zhonya's there before anything does happen to him, as now Khan is looking for his own chance, and he's going to get revenge on the Gnar after that lane phase. Malrang nearly dies, and Henna is going to survive for now, but you are absolutely right. We will be going to a game number 3, as they're looking for Henna, but he's got a stopwatch. And he is actually going to get 1 kill on the backside. But either way, it is still a Damwon victory, and we will have our 3rd game.